Today on the podcast, we've got Danny Lehr, the CEO of Caffeine and Kilos, the official coffee of USA Weightlifting, badass entrepreneur, and a fascinating story. Today, we're going to learn more about Caffeine and Kilos, the origin story and the brand, and dive a little deeper and learn more about Danny as a founder, athlete, and entrepreneur. Stick around.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we get to meet and learn from our CFE coaches, learn a little bit more about our CrossFitters here, and well as occasionally talk with locally owned Glen Ed business owners and some of the characters behind them. I'm your co-host, Dallas Amston, with Communicate to Succeed, helping introverted entrepreneurs and others work on their presentation skills so that they can connect powerfully with their audiences and convert more clients. And with me always is my co-host, G. Skell.
What's up, everybody? I'm Coach G, the CEO, GM at CrossFit Edwardsville. Today, we're really excited. We get to welcome the co-founder, the CEO of a brand becoming increasingly well-known in the CrossFit space. Today, we have Danny Lehr of Caffeine and Kilos. Additionally, Danny is the owner of a gym in California, Excel Health and Fitness, bringing fitness to people. Everybody, please help me in welcoming Danny Lehr. Welcome, Danny.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, man. Good to have you here.
Awesome.
We're excited. In case to our audience here, in case you guys did not know, the Caffeine and Kilos, the official coffee of USA Weightlifting, a lifestyle brand whose products help you look great, feel amazing everywhere you go, so you feel confident in and out of the gym. Dallas, what are we doing today?
Oh my gosh. Well, today we're going to hear a little bit about that. We're going to learn a little bit more about Caffeine and Kilos, the origin story, the brand, like you said. But we want to first start out like we always do, diving a little deeper and getting to know more about Danny as founder, as athlete, and as entrepreneur. So Danny, I'm going to kick this off, and I'm actually going to just change our view here so we can see you a little bit more evenly as well. But I want to know a little bit more about the 3-hour training. All right. So for those of you who don't know, 3 hours a week documentary, such a cool story. Would you mind sharing that story with us as we kind of get to know you a little bit better?
Absolutely. So I competed in weightlifting and Olympic style weightlifting for 5 or 6 years, from around 2010, I think was my first meet, until around 2015. And, business was taken off and I have young kids and stuff. And it just kind of, my days of training as a full-time weightlifter were over, basically. Right. Because, early on in that time was like nine sessions a week. And each session was, 2 hours. And then I eventually went to just like 5 sessions a week, but each session was a little bit longer, but I was able to recover more as I was getting a little bit older. And then I was just kind of out. I wasn't competing anymore. And then I have a friend who does the Masters meets, like Masters World Cup or Masters National Championship. And in weightlifting, Masters starts at 35 years old. Pretty young, but the sport's kind of hard on your body. So a lot of people don't do it for very long. So the Masters World Cup was in San Diego. I had a friend reach out and say, hey, you should go and do this meet. It's right there in San Diego. You're going to be 35. So you qualify. And I wasn't really ever planning on doing any Masters weightlifting meets. I was kind of just done. But I thought, okay, well, just because it's in California doesn't mean it's right there, right? Like San Diego is about a 10-hour drive from where I live up by Sacramento. It's a short Southwest flight though. And I was just thinking about it more. And I had these goals when I was competing in weightlifting. I wanted to, place what I first do is like qualify for these national championships and stuff, then place top 10, then place top 5, and then to medal. And that last one was the thing I never did, right? Like I competed in a bunch of national level competitions. I placed 5th, I got 7th. I was like right in top 10 lots of times, but I never medaled. So I thought, okay, this is an opportunity. If I go there, and even though it's not national championships, World Cup, we'll count that. And so if I can go there and medal at that, I kind of get this monkey off my back, and we'll see if I care. Maybe I have a great time and do weightlifting meets again, right? Like as I actually do these Masters weightlifting meets and kind of travel around the country and around the world and doing these things. But with my schedule being what it is now, with a couple businesses and the kids and everything, it's like the only possibility is I can only really do like 3-day-a-week training and only about an hour each time, So that's what I did. And so I follow, I lifted for California Strength, the weightlifting team, when I was competing. And so they actually, sell their programming and stuff. And part of their program is the barbell WOD, and it's a 3-day week program. And it has a weightlifting slant to it. So I just followed that. And I just trained those 3 hours a week leading up to it. I did eight weeks, and then I did a local meet because I had to get a qualifying total. And then I did another 12 weeks, and then went down to the Masters World Cup. And about 2 weeks before the meet, it was announced that there was going to be a film festival, right? Like Noble was going to do like this Noble Film Festival. And I thought, man, it'd be good if Caffeine and Kilos had an entry into that. But what are we going to do? And it was a pretty short timeline. So like, man, what are we going to do for this, little short film? And then someone mentions, well, that weightlifting meet, why don't you just kind of document how that goes or what it's like? And so I called up a friend that does videography work and said, hey, man, you want to go to San Diego next weekend? Get your camera.
This is fascinating. So like, the pitch for the documentary then is Danny Lehr is training only 3 hours a week. And can he be competitive? Can he hang with the big dogs on the stage, on the platform, with only 3 hours a week? Because he's balancing his family, he's balancing his businesses, he's balancing being a human being with interests and hobbies. And so tell us how the event went for those of us who haven't seen the documentary.
Well, I don't want to ruin it. No, I'm just kidding. It went well. I had a lot of fun. I went down there, and also it was like the weight classes had changed, and so I had to like go down a weight class. There's some little bit of cutting weight involved and that type of thing too. Anyway, so I ended up winning it, and that was a lot of fun. But I thought, so that was great. And so I did feel a little better about that. Okay, maybe I never actually placed top 3 nationals, but I won this Masters World Cup. So that kind of checks that box at least, and kind of feel like now I can move on and not feel like I still have some unfinished business in weightlifting, So I had a great time. And during the meet, I was like, oh yeah, like this is great. I'm gonna do more of this, And then the meet was over, and like the weightlifting meet was ended, and I got off the platform. There's a medal ceremony. As soon as the medal ceremony was over, I changed my clothes and got in a car and went straight to the airport and flew home that night. Right? Like, it was kind of like
because you're still a dad, you're still a family man, you still have responsibilities back home.
Yeah, I got kids that take school the next morning, and so did all that. And I did realize, though, on the way home, I was like, I think this is probably about it. Yeah. I think that's kind of
retire on top.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, it's this thing where it's during the training, so whatever, 20 weeks basically is what I dedicated to this, and only 3 sessions a week. But so out of those 60 whatever training sessions, I think maybe 4 of them I enjoyed.
Really?
It was just,
why was that?
I think that the reason I'm at this point in my life now, I like to exercise. I still work out. I still just do the CrossFit class in my gym a couple days a week. And I like doing that. But if something comes up and I miss it, I miss the class, that's okay. Like, I understand that one class isn't like make or break in my current fitness goals, which is like feeling good. Right. But if I'm training for something, like missing a training session is not an option. And so, there was a time in my life where I would, that meant I was doing front squats at 5 a.m. in my garage, or after the kids are in bed at 8:30, I'm out there doing my whole weightlifting workout. Then that was just what it took. Like, that was fine. But I'm just not at a point in my life now where that's what matters, where that's what's important, where that's what I'm not willing to do that at this time.
It sounds like you've kind of come to that point of like psychological, emotional graduation where you're like, okay, I'm not competing for the sake of sport anymore. I'm competing to be an athlete in life, an athlete as, be amazing as a dad, amazing as a business owner. I need crazy energy, crazy focus, crazy stamina to be able to go out and kick butt on a lot of playing fields. And maybe it's not the weightlifting platform now, but you're training to be awesome at life.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's just, if I can't get into the gym today, or if it's going to inconvenience me in certain ways that I'm not willing to sacrifice, like, that's okay. And so, but if I'm training for something, I can't half-ass it, right? I can't just like skip training sessions, do that. It's like the program is the program, and you don't miss,
Right.
And I love, as much as I love competing, and I love I do like the idea of training for something and doing stuff like that. It's like, this just isn't what, at this point in my life, it's not adding to my life. It would actually be detracting from the things that I think are important.
What are the ages of your kids? Like, where are they at?
I have a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Okay. So we're pretty close in that age range with you, both G and I. So we kind of got a little bit there about your background as an athlete, but let's switch it over. Talk to us a little bit about your background as an entrepreneur.
Sure. So I grew up kind of around entrepreneurs, right? It's like my grandfather started his own business, ran his own business. He owned, built up properties around town for commercial buildings and some residential and stuff. And so as a kid, he would sometimes like hire me to work for him, like he would just, it's like, hey, on like a Saturday, he needed just, a day laborer basically. I was like, hey, 10-year-old grandson, you want to come work with me? You want to come work for me on Saturday? I'll pay you whatever, $5 an hour. Oh yeah, sure. Sounds great. And so I'd go and we'd be, fixing
up what they used to get away with.
Right. And,
my grandpa was the same way. Here, buddy, here's $5. I felt like a king.
Oh, I was pumped. Yeah. And so, go and we do whatever that is, he'd be, getting a new tenant in a rental property and changing something over, or he would be, he like bought this house that he was going to split the lot and build a second one and sell them both. And he needs someone to take care of the pool. I'd like ride my bike across town to take care of this pool for him when I was, 14 years old, as like summer job. So, and then my parents ran a business when I was a kid. So I'd always been around that. And I always understood like, that's an option. I think a lot of people don't grow up with that, knowing that, you don't have to just get a job for someone else, that you can run your own business. You can do your own thing, So I always kind of knew that I was interested in that. I thought, okay, at some point I'll do something. I'm not sure what or whatever. Then I got done with high school, was going to college to be a PE teacher, got into CrossFit, looked up, where the nearest affiliate was. And there's one that had just started, and the guy was in his garage, but he's going out of his garage into this brand new building. But they only had classes like 3 days a week because the guy was actually a PE teacher also and had a full job. Anyway, so I met up with him and we started hanging out and stuff. And anyway, then he pretty much brought me in as part owner of that business, like right off the bat there.
Yeah.
And so that was like my first real kind of opportunity where someone, there's an opportunity there. And I was like, okay, do I want to do this or not? Right. Do I want to? Yeah. He had a business partner that wasn't really doing anything. And he needed somebody to like physically help. And so I was like, all right, do I do this? Do I buy out this other guy and get into this business? And that was the first time I kind of had this opportunity there. And here's the choice, like put up or shut up. Do you want to do this or do you not want to do it? And I did. So that was kind of the beginning of my personal, entrepreneurial journey from there.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you and G could share some early day war stories. He was a physical therapist and going back and forth between the CrossFit gym so many hours a week and his PT practice so many hours a week until, what was it, 2013, G, that you said, nope, I'm diving in 2 feet into CrossFit.
That was the one. 2013, I was working 94 hours a week, and my son was born, and I had to make a decision. Hey, if I'm going to have a relationship with my son, something has to give, because I can't be working for 94 hours a week and then also be a involved, committed father as well. So that was when I went all in on the business.
I had a similar thing as when Caffeine and Kilos started. It was just meant to be a one-time event. Like that was the original plan.
Yeah.
And then it became pretty clear that was not going to be the plan. And so I was still teaching PE, but I was working from 5 in the morning until like 7 in the morning. Then I'd go to school all day. And then, same thing after I put the kids to bed, then I would work again from, 7:30 at night until 9:30 at night. And you do that every day, and it's not sustainable, right? Like sometimes it's necessary for short periods of time, and you kind of do what you got to do. But then you're looking at it, you're like, all right, if I don't change something, this is just the way it is. And it's just how I want it to be. Like, it's like, of course not. It's not good for if I want to stay married, it's probably isn't like a good, like long-term plan.
Yes.
And so then I went to a part-time teaching job for 1 year. That was really as much as anything to kind of make my wife be a little more comfortable with it, because she believes in me and always supports me, but she's a little more conservative about decisions like this, So I took that half-time teaching job for a year, and then got out of teaching entirely.
So talk a little bit more about Caffeine and Kilos and the origin story there. You just alluded to the fact that it was a one-time event. What was that, and how has it evolved since that beginning?
So the start was, a guy called me, didn't even know him that well. He was just another affiliate owner that we competed in a few weightlifting meets together, but didn't really know him that well. And he called me and said, "Hey, I want to host a weightlifting meet and get the best." Basically, the idea was get the best weightlifters in the country out here for it. And how do we do that? And I thought, okay, well, I know a lot of the best weightlifters in the country because I was competing at national championships and lifting for Cal Strength and kind of had some connections there. Well, no one was giving cash prizes. So if we give a cash prize, and no one was really had a big crowd at this time either. It's like you go to nationals and be like other people competing and like maybe someone's mom, but like maybe not. And so it's like, okay, well, if we give them a crowd to lift in front of and a grand prize, I think that we could get, and like a big prize, I think we get people out to come out and do this meet.
Sure.
And it's okay, sounds good. And then around that same time, he just posted a picture of a t-shirt just on like Facebook, whatever. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna make one of these for myself." Just like my life, and had a picture of a coffee mug and then a guy lifting weights. And I was like, "If anybody else want one, I'm like, let me know, because I'm going to get one made." And there was this overwhelming, response to that. People were like, "Oh, I want one." There's like tons of people, like all pumped up about this. But oh, that seems to resonate with people. That's interesting,
Yeah.
And so then we were talking about it, and they're kind of two separate ideas. And then we just kind of realized, like over the course of a couple of weeks, it's like, no, actually, it's the same idea. Like this, lifestyle of, drinking coffee and lifting weights and extra, just active, healthy lifestyle basically is the same thing that this meet is all about.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, well, there we go. It's the Caffeine and Kilos Invitational, and we'll make some apparel for it. And we'll send it out to some of the people that are going to be competing or some of our friends, and just kind of see where it goes. And as we sent out, and then we'll also make a coffee, and we made at the same time. It wasn't like what came first. We actually started making them both. And then we started sending them out. People liked it. We had a bunch of different people, excited, wanted to buy it. So, okay, I guess we should put them online first. So we get the e-commerce store set up and start selling the stuff online before the meet even happened. And then the Caffeine and Kilos Invitational, the first year in 2013, went great. Had a bunch of really good lifters came out. The CrossFit style competition, we did a team event. That was a big hit. A lot of people stuck around, watched the weightlifting meet. We had an after party. It was great, like really, really good event. And it really kind of like launched the brand. So we paid out all the winnings and everything, and then used any of the proceeds from it, basically all extra proceeds, to just buy more inventory. And it was basically turned out to be like a launch party for the brand. And then I went back to school, and I'm talking to their PE teachers about it. They're like, "Oh, so you just like you started to have a summer hobby and it turned into a summer job." I was like, "That's exactly what happened."
But my grandpa's not paying me only $5.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh man, my grandpa would have paid me a lot more than what I got out of it to start.
Sure.
Right? Like I don't think we took a paycheck from the company for the first year, maybe.
Yeah, of course.
Ditto. It was like that for us too in the early days. I think like the first 3 years that we were open, the only people that got paid were the staff that we'd hired to work with us. Humble beginnings. So let's fast forward to now then. Caffeine and Kilos today. Like what's different now compared to when you started? And tell us how it's evolved since the beginning, and maybe tell us a little bit how it's evolved since the pandemic has kicked in.
Sure. Well, I mean, the basic thing is we have more, we have a pretty small team still, but we have, some people that we work with, and that really helps out with everything. It makes the quality of everything we do better because you have people that can specialize in the different aspects of, systemize things, and then you put good people in place and empower them to make decisions. That's been great. Like I'm not the one who is sending out every single email. that's nice, you know. And then the thing that really changed too, and especially during pandemic, is our number one product now is our coffee of the month. And it's like, it's great because it's super fun, right? Like every month we go in every 3 to 4 months. So we try, you know, our roaster puts together 8 to 10 blends, and we try them all. We pick our favorite ones, and then we decide what goes what in what month, kind of depending on how the like tasting notes apply for that time of year, seasonal type stuff. And then but we don't name them yet. And then what we do is like in the previous month before it's going to get released, we taste it and then we name it, and we try to name it something that like brings out what it's all about. So that way when people at home, you get your coffee of the month, it's a different one every month. And it almost like teaches people how to taste coffee, or like what flavor notes to try and find in it. Yeah. Right. So for example, we have one that's like, oh, definitely tastes like cherry and, you know, like maybe some cinnamon in it. So it's like, oh, that's like a cherry pie. And then if you taste it and you think about cherry pie, you're like, yeah, no shit. It's like cherry pie. Like I get it, you know? Or next month is actually like Rocky Road, because like it definitely has some like nutty, like, oh yeah, it tastes kind of like nutty, almond, peanutty kind of. And then it's also like for like a dark chocolate. And it's like, anyway, it's like you're looking at it like, man, it's like Rocky Road ice cream.
That's fun.
So
it sounds like what you're cultivating is you're cultivating a higher level of appreciation for sophistication in coffee.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, but that's it. Now we kind of fell into that. Like we were just doing these coffee of the months and we're naming them fun things. And then we were like, oh man, actually like we can really use this as a way to like teach people kind of what to look for, you know, or different tasting notes to kind of look for in their coffees, you know.
I'm looking at the site right now. I think I'm going to have to order the Night Train blend and just listen to Jason Aldean while I drink my coffee.
Oh, the Night Train cometh. You know,
I want to know what your favorite name is so far, Danny. Which of these, which of the brainstorming sessions has produced the gem? What's your favorite coffee so far that you've birthed?
I'll give you some fun ones because I don't know. If I had them all in front of me, I could probably pick which one. We've been doing this for whatever, you know, a couple of years now. But one I know, like Fruity Kilos, which is like Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah, like
that one's kind of fun. That was a really good coffee, and also just like the label was really good. It used you could kind of make the connection there, even though it's like Fruity Kilos, you kind of knew what we were going for. That one was a lot of fun. You know what else is I actually really liked? It was like the Christmas blend. It was called like Grandma's Fudge or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, everyone has like that. Actually, mine wasn't a grandma, it was Aunt Joyce. Like every Christmas, she would bring this homemade candy, you know, and it was like fudge or like homemade like Rocky Road candy, chocolate candy stuff. Anyway, and that was weird. As we were tasting this coffee, we're like, man, this reminds me of like my Aunt Joyce's fudge that she brings.
Sure.
The thing. It's the grandma's fudge. That was a fun one too.
Very cool. So part of, and again, you kind of alluded to this here, but what would you say is specifically the mission? Like, what are you really trying to do and accomplish? Your mission, your core purpose? Because I'm looking here at your coffees, and you know it's responsibly sourced. So there's obviously some eco-friendly mission stuff, but you have a larger mission for what you want to see happen.
Yeah, man. Our goal is to promote an active, healthy lifestyle.
Okay,
like that. That's it. You know, and with the coffee and how everything we do kind of applies to that is we take the coffee, for example, is if you're drinking coffee every morning, if you just drink whatever Folgers off the shelf, what does that really like say about you? Like really probably nothing, right?
Yep.
I don't know, other than you kind of like shitty coffee, right? But if you drink something that has some sort of meaning to you, right? Whether that's, you know, whatever you're into, you know, but if you work out and you like working out and you're going to the gym, well, if you in the morning you drink your Caffeine and Kilos coffee, like, you know, even if it's on a subconscious level, like as you're making your coffee, you're seeing the label, you know, it's a brand that's in fitness, in the industry. Like you're like casting a vote. Like I am a person that works out. I care about myself. I you know, and so I'm 100% convinced that if you drink our coffee, you're more likely to go to the gym that day and to like live that healthy, active lifestyle than if you don't. because every time you do, you're like casting a vote. This type of person I am. Same thing, like wearing the apparel. If you're choosing to wear it looks really good.
Yeah.
Dean does an amazing job with the designs, but it's like, if you're wearing our stuff, like you're kind of making a statement, like this is what I like, this is what I'm into, And so I think that definitely helps people to, just be a part of that and remind them like this is what it's all about, right? It's about this healthy, active lifestyle, working out, getting fired up, having a good time.
So you guys continue.
I think part of it too, and I think this in a personal level, because with the gym, it's really important to me, is, I just know what it feels like to feel good, right? To like exercise and be pretty healthy and feel good. And it'd be great if everybody knew what that was like.
Sure.
Right. The feel, like how you feel after a great workout, is a very addictive sensation. That sense of satisfaction. Sure. You sweat out the toxins. You just feel fantastic. The endorphin rush that just carries you. And if you're in a CrossFit setting, the serotonin and oxytocin rush carries you, man. It's awesome. So Caffeine and Kilos continues to press on, where many other businesses have not made it out of the pandemic. What's allowed Caffeine and Kilos to continue to grow and thrive where others maybe haven't made it this far?
Well, a big part of it is we do maybe once a week, we do a brainstorming session with everybody involved. And we'd have almost like an all hands meeting. Everyone comes in and it's like, all right, here's what's going on. This is what we got coming up. And then here's like, what else can we do? Or what do we need? What's working? What's not working? What can we adjust? Like, what are some ideas to, either increase, subscribers on the Coffee of the Month, or just like overall revenues, or, just different things like that. And then we'd come out of the meeting and take action on it. I think that us kind of having a small team, and then also just we all know that the collective intelligence of a group is so much higher than individual, right? And that's been something that's been really good for us. And it's funny, sometimes you think you have this idea, you're like, oh yeah, this is it. Like I got this all figured out. I've been thinking about it for, a couple hours. Like I got this thing like all hashed out. And then you go and you kind of present it to the group, right? You're like, hey guys, check this out. I got an idea for this promotion. Like, and then as everyone talks about it more, you like slowly realize that you were about 20% of the way there, right? You're like, and when it's done, it's like, oh man, this is so much better than the original idea, And so I think that kind of like group collaboration has definitely been something that has really benefited us, and the openness that comes along with that, right? Like, people, there's no egos involved, right? It doesn't matter whose idea it is. It just matters that it's the best idea, right? It doesn't matter who's right, or it doesn't matter who's right. It just matters that it's right.
Right.
And the kind of that attitude that we take on this stuff, I think really makes a big difference.
So then getting back to Danny, the man and the entrepreneur, do you have a favorite failure, like some failure or apparent failure from your past that set you up for later success? This is one of our favorite questions to ask our entrepreneurs.
So the parent failure, I don't know, man, like just follow me around with the camera a little bit more. I'm sure you get plenty of those. But with the one thing I was thinking about is 1 year. So going to like the CrossFit Games specifically, a lot of people go there and they're not profitable there just because it's expensive to get a booth, and you got to worry about the travel, and then you got to ship pallets of your product out there and back and all this. And it really just turns into like a marketing expense. Well, with us, that wasn't the case. Like we would go to the CrossFit Games and we'd get a really nice booth set up. We'd send a whole team out there, and we'd always do really well. And it would actually end up being something at the end of the day that would be a profitable experience for us. And then 1 year, we go out there and kind of with expectations, oh yeah, it's going to be great, whatever. And like the position of where they put where the booth was, you don't have a lot of control over that. And it was just kind of like, just a lot of things kind of happen. And also it was like, I don't think it was the first year in Madison. It might have been the second or third year out there. And just kind of like a lot of like things were kind of going on, a lot of moving parts. And it ended up just like not going well. We ended up like losing quite a bit of money out there. And I remember as I was thinking about it and like what, where we could have done better or different stuff. And a big takeaway, it was like, well, because we didn't really do anything to improve what we'd done in previous years. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, we've done this, so many times, and it just happens, works out great no matter what. And like, we didn't try to do anything different or anything, whatever innovative. We didn't change anything,
Yeah.
And so that was like,
you hit the rinse, wash, repeat button one too many times.
yeah. Well, I think we probably skipped the rinse, right? Like we was like even that much. It was like we didn't even do rinse, wash, rinse, repeat. It was like, we'll just fucking repeat it, And then we didn't. Funny thing, didn't get the same results, And so so we're kind of doing a post-mortem on that. We kind of worked out, well, maybe we should these types of things like this that are kind of a bigger deal we need to take a little more seriously, and also like don't take anything for granted and kind of look ahead every single time and have a plan and have a contingency plan, and then different things put in place. And what more could we do, and what do we need to do, or what more things we need to do offsite as well as onsite, and should we take such a big team out, or maybe we should hire local a little bit, take a smaller team and have some local people work the booths. What products do we really need to have there, and which ones don't we need to have there? Oh, it's in Madison. Maybe some of these like more brighter floral or pastel colored things that do really well on the coast, like maybe those don't do as well for middle of the country stuff. Maybe more like black and OD green kind of color patterns would be better for the majority of the people there, right? And just kind of like revisiting, okay, every single thing we did and how could we do better, right?
Yeah.
And it was great. But without that bad year, that off year, we probably wouldn't have. Well, I know we wouldn't have kind of readdressed those things and end up making it better than it ever had been before.
Sure. So let me ask you this, Danny. What would you say is the best part of your work? It's the one thing that you love to experience, especially with Caffeine and Kilos every day.
Honestly, it's the people and the collaboration. And like I'm just a big people person in general. I actually loved teaching PE. Taught high school, and they're just younger people.
Yeah.
And so I really like talking to people and working together on things. I think part of that's the background and sports and liking that kind of collaboration thing, and kind of pair that with being outgoing and extroverted. And I just love coming down here, working with other people and solving problems.
Flip side of that coin, then let's see if this answer is the same. What's the hardest part? What's the one thing I'm just kidding. Is it people?
Yeah, sure.
No, what's the hardest part? Like if you could make one problem go away forever, what would it be?
Oh man, problem go away for it's funny. I don't know if I say going away forever, but I really like solving problems, right? That's like why business is so fun, is because you're just like figuring out solutions and stuff, right? It's just puzzles all the time. What's also true is I've heard this expression, whatever, I wouldn't say quote, but this expression, it's like you'll find more fiction in spreadsheets than you do in books. Right.
That's interesting.
And so because like I can you want to talk about doing a new thing, we're gonna have a new product or a new program or whatever, and we got to model this out. Is it going to be profitable or is it not, or what is it even worth doing, and that type of stuff. And I'm pretty good with putting together some spreadsheets and trying to figure that out, or I'm at least decent at it, I should say. But then like sometimes it just doesn't pan out. So it's like, what's my least favorite thing is it really comes down to, I think, the more like, quote boring, or what I consider boring parts, right? Like as far as like just hard fact, like the things you need to know though. It's like exact numbers on things and like plugging those numbers in to see, if where the opportunities lie and that type of stuff.
Sure.
On one hand, I like the idea of solving the problem. On the other hand, just like tracking numbers, I have very little desire to like, be data entry, figuring out, or just putting the numbers in type thing.
Sure. Well, and
the thing about being an entrepreneur is that it's constant problem solving, which can be both the most rewarding, and the fact that there's always some new problem you have to solve, some new challenge coming down the pipeline. It is our perpetual plague, Danny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's exactly it, right? It's like something goes wrong and it's like, oh shit. And like dealing with that. And then you find the solution. You're like, woo! It's like, you're feeling good about that.
You're feeling good because you're like, all right, cool. The next time this problem arises, I have a neat, cute, neatly packaged solution The trouble is that the next time a problem comes down, it's a completely new and novel problem.
Right.
And you have to solve things all over again.
What got you there? What got you here won't get you to the next step.
Yeah, what got you here won't get you there. That's actually it's a pretty good business book with that name.
Yeah. So in the last 5 years, then, as we're talking about successes, failures, best parts, hardest parts, what would you say in the last 5 years has been the new belief or new behavior or new habit that has most improved your life?
Oh man, just that like everything's going to be okay. Like it's going to be okay. Like focus on what really matters. It's easy when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
To turn into Chicken Little, you know what I mean? Like sky's falling. We would around here we had this one of the guys I used to work with. Like the smallest thing would go wrong, and we would like make a joke about it, right? Like something's like, oh man, I forgot something at home. We're like, oh, everything's fucked. Everything. That's it. It's all over. It's all over. Right? But to kind of like take it that. Just making that joke and taking things that way, because sometimes that's how it feels. Like something, but you take a step back, you're like, now hold on, is this really? It's like, no, that's not not really. Like the truth is, this, a year from now, this isn't even going to matter. Like it's fine. Like it's fine.
Right.
Like we'll figure it out. Like we'll work through it. We'll find whatever the solution is, and it's not worth having something, kind of ruin your day, and then you go home and you take that with you. It's like, not only am I going to be upset now, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to yell at my kids over something that they didn't really do wrong because of this also. It's like just getting out of that loop and kind of being able to, hey, it's okay, we'll work through it. And then, when I get home or whatever, it's like not that I'm perfect about it, far from that, but definitely better about not letting that impact, my relationship with my kids or my wife and just that type of thing. Right. And so I think that's the new belief, or the thing that I've really gotten better at in the past, year, a couple of years is, hey,
things go
wrong, it happens,
Yeah.
Navy SEALs are some of our favorite people to listen to, and they almost across the board all have a fantastic sense of humor, because it seems like the best way to deal with just like really shitty situations is to have a fantastic sense of humor and try and crack a joke, because it helps keep your mind right when you're going through constant challenges and problems and all that.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like what they say, like, could it get any better? Like when something goes, like you get put in this situation, you go, oh man, it doesn't get any better than this. Could it get any better? And it's if you've read Man's Search for Meaning, right? It's about
Viktor
a guy
Frankl.
Viktor Frankl, and he's in, Auschwitz. He's in the camps. And one of his rules was him and his friend, when they were marching out 6 miles every day to do manual labor, and they don't have shoes on in the snow and all this, is they would have to tell each other a new joke every day. Right. Huh. And so it's like, could you imagine being in the most horrific situation human beings have ever been placed in? And then every day you have to like make up a new joke to tell to your friend. Right. And the idea was just to keep it light, have some sense of joy in your life, and something to kind of, look forward to and to keep you going and all that. And it's actually that type of stuff, not that I've ever experienced anything compared to that.
Right.
But like leaving that example there and then moving on with the conversation, right? Like, comparing to that is actually, it's like last weekend, actually, I was out of town. I got invited by some guys that live in Minnesota, and they're like, hey, why don't you come up and go ice fishing? I'm like, yeah, sure. And so we're like, why not? And so anyway, when we go to leave, like there's these 2x4s that are just iced in to the ground that the ice house is sitting on top of. And you got to like chip these things out. And you could leave them there and like whatever, it would just be floating 2x4s, like when the ice frosts in a few months. But that's not really the point. Like we brought those things to put this house on. You got to get them out of there. It's like and it's like you're leaving. So the last thing you want to do is like deal with the most physical labor that you're going to do the entire time. But it was actually this funny thing. In a way, it was like maybe my favorite part of the trip is like having this shovel and this, scraper, whatever, and like chipping away the ice to get out these 2x4s that are buried. They're under the ice, and, anyway, but just there was like, oh, here we go. There's this job. It has to be done. Someone has to do it. Nobody wants to do it, but like we're not leaving until it's done. And it doesn't matter that it's 11 degrees outside. And it doesn't matter that the wind is blowing and it's snowing right now.
You want to be responsible. You want to be like
we gotta-
Sasquatch and leave no trace.
We got to get them out. That's
Yeah.
it. And so anyways, that's same thing. And so we're joking about it. We're like, oh man, like this is like, anyway, like what luck, this one stuck too, like type thing. And so, but we're having a good time just, joking about it and just cranking those things out of there,
So let's talk mentors and influences for a moment. The ones that have been the most influential on you personally, or maybe in terms of business. What are some of your top mentors, top influences, and what are some of the things you learned from them that coached you to success?
Yeah, man, like this, there's a long list here. Just as far as I really try to, take as much, knowledge and things. If someone reached out to try and help you, you take it,
Right.
And if someone someone who's kind of helping you with stuff, if for whatever reason they keep talking to you and helping you out, like do it, take it. Don't be afraid of listening to somebody or putting someone out, whatever. It's like, if they're reaching out to you, go for it. But when I was competing in weightlifting, actually, I was coached by Glenn Penlay, who was
the great,
regarded as one of the best weightlifting coaches in the country, around the world at the time by a lot of people. And what I've learned from him, and then Dave Spitz, the owner of Cal Strength, who's the weightlifting team coach now, like those two guys, I really learned a lot from them, just from about coaching in general, and then all kinds of stuff. And like one lesson in there in particular is like the worst service you can do to somebody is tell them that something is right when it's not. Sometimes someone's like, they're trying so damn hard.
Yeah.
And you see them and so badly you want to tell them like, good job. But if it's not right, you can't, you can say better if it's better.
Right.
But you cannot tell someone that something's good if it's not good.
This is a really important lesson for all the leaders, and in our CrossFit community, so many of our clients are leaders of business, leaders of industry. They own the research facility, they own the restaurant. The key takeaway that we may capture in one of our lower thirds is, if something isn't great, don't tell people it's great. Good leadership is giving them what they need to hear.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's hard. And I got stories about different things that either like from personal, as far as like I was doing something wrong over and over again, or other people. Like there's one girl, it always stands out because it was her birthday that day, and she was doing something wrong. And I remember she's like crying, and Glenn just wasn't having it. Like he didn't give a shit. Like, no, like he wasn't being mean, but he just was not going to let her like move on until she fixed this thing. Yeah. And at one point, I do remember he like went up and like helped her where her foot should go, and then said, okay, go ahead. And she did it wrong again. And he actually said, that is the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. And I'm thinking, I'm like, holy shit, man, like that's really harsh. And so, you don't have to be mean about it. But the point of like, he was not going to accept the wrong thing. Yeah. Doesn't matter that it was, whatever, her birthday, or that she was crying or whatever. Right. Like that doesn't make your foot placement correct, so there's definitely also, nicer ways to do that type of thing too. But that lesson is like really important,
And we know that leaders are readers, Danny. So what books have been most influential on you and some of the lessons you took from them?
Number one is, I think a lot of people ask me too, I get asked about books a lot. Like, I'm looking for a good like self-improvement book or whatever. And so the book Mindset by Carol Dweck is like number one on the reading list. In fact, I even tell people, like, the truth is, if you haven't read it, if you don't fully understand, even if you don't completely agree with, if you don't like understand at least the lessons in that book, you won't get nearly as much out of everything you read after that. Like that's like, here, this is the base. And so if you don't know the information in the book Mindset, then I wouldn't say everything else is a waste of time, but everything else you're getting 50% out of it what you could get if you did believe in mindset.
Because the operating system right here is the filter for everything. If the operating system is wrong, then it doesn't matter what program you put in it. It's not going to work.
You can read whatever you want and try and enter it into DOS. you
Right.
know, if go off the operating system thing, right? But so yes, that's number
You just
one.
dated yourself there, bro.
Yeah.
The moment you said DOS, we all were there with you, but you did.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah, we know what you're talking about. Like, but
Yeah.
that's been a minute. I want you guys to know
that's
also, we are now 2 minutes away from it being 2:22 p.m. on 2/22 of 22. So
wait for the 22 seconds also.
counting it down now.
God. It's like Y2K. Is everything going to crash?
That's funny.
No, maybe everything gets better. Maybe it's the opposite of Y2K.
Well, it'll probably be just
That's
like Y2K.
my mindset.
Just like Y2K, like nothing actually happens different.
It's
So tell us an unusual habit or an absurd thing that Danny Lehr of Caffeine and Kilos loves.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this, and I definitely have some eccentricities in different ways. But I couldn't think of one major thing. What I got that I think is interesting, at least that like I just kind of assume other people do or whatever, and they usually don't. Is I'm kind of into like homesteading type of stuff, meaning in little ways. So like I make my own kombucha, right? And I every now and then I'll even like take a batch and make it like a high alcohol hard kombucha, you know. But I make my own kombucha, and like I like to make my own sauerkraut. And then is it time?
It's 2:22. Just a little moment of recognition for that. There's now 2:22 p.m. on February 22nd of 2022. It's a very special moment, probably in some way, although I'm not really sure what the significance is.
Yeah, we made it.
Danny, you were saying.
Yeah, so I make my own kombucha. I like to make my own sauerkraut. I've actually made my own kimchi if I have the right spices. I've gone through a phase where I like made my own kefir for like a while, but that one's more intensive. So you have to mess with it every day.
Yeah,
just like little things like that. You know, I don't know, whatever. We have a little garden. Lots of people have a garden, but you know, in the perfect world, it's like you have a garden, you grow your cabbage, and then you take your cabbage and you make your own sauerkraut out of the cabbage from your garden, and you know, stuff like that. Not that these are like these huge, far-reaching things, but that's something that I, for whatever reason, I think is a lot of fun, and I'm really
sure. These are probably far more valuable eccentricities than a lot of things that could be on this list.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I bet if you went and asked a lot of people that know me, I'm sure they could give you some more list.
Well, that's the healthy lifestyle stuff, though, right? Like if if all your eccentricities contribute to a healthier lifestyle, you're on a good track here, my dude.
Well, I'm sure they all don't. But yeah, that's, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I came up with. I'm sure there's more.
So let me ask you this: we've talked a lot about Caffeine and Kilos here. What would you say? And the people, I mean, there's so many things you mentioned here that are so good, but what would you say you're most proud of in business?
Well, two things. Number one is just that we actually help people. Like I really like doing things in the fitness industry for that reason. Yeah. And so even in fact, we were like, I do have like whatever, a little rental or two that's kind of like as a retirement thing as much as anything. But I think I might sell them because I don't really care. Like I just don't, I don't know how they're like really helping people to feel better and to live that healthy, active lifestyle. But everything else I do, like any business things that I get involved with, like that's really at the core of it, you know? Yeah. So as opportunities come along, that's kind of part of the filter I go through on that, you know, is this okay? Is this really helping people? Is this helping people like feel good and do all that? And so that's the thing about Caffeine and Kilos specifically, and about the gym specifically, is like both those things, like they definitely do that, like without question, you know? And so that's something I feel really, feel really good about. And I said two things. I don't remember what the other one was.
That's all right. What about
integrity stuff, right? So I was just talking this morning with my business partner here, and we were saying like, the number one thing you got to remember is like, you should be like unquestionable, right? Like if before this show, I couldn't make it, and if I like call you or whatever, send an email and said, hey man, I can't make it in because I got food poisoning or whatever. Like there shouldn't be any, I don't want to ever be questioned on that. Right. And so if your reputation is, if your, whatever, if your reputation is like you're where you say you're going to be, if you tell someone you're going to be there, you're there. If you say you're going to be on the phone, you're on the phone. If you, whatever, all these things are in place, and then somebody at one point like accuses you of stealing or some shit, it would just be ridiculous. Like everybody would just laugh about it. No one would, and that's how I really try to live my life, is just with that type of thing where it's like, I want to be, unquestionable. Right.
I love that.
Anybody that knows me, if somebody says something bad about me, if they actually have any experience actually like knowing me, they'll probably just laugh about it. And like, honestly, I don't even want to know. Like, you don't have to tell me what someone said. I'd rather you not, because like, it doesn't benefit me in any way, really, unless it's true. Then I want to know so I can get better, like as a feedback thing. But if it's just someone just talking shit to you and they're just talking shit, like, I don't really need to know that. You know what I mean?
If it's not helping, if it's not helping us become better people, then it's gossip.
Yeah.
We don't need to chat about it. Yeah.
If there's any truth to it and I can improve, I definitely want to know. But if it's trash, then like, don't even tell me. Like,
I love that, like the idea of having such a rock solid character and such a track record of integrity that if anybody says something about you, that everybody who knows would be like, that's ridiculous. There's no way. I know Danny, and there is no way.
Right.
Like I have such a frame of reference with this guy. I'm telling you right now that he would not do something untoward. Right.
Right. That's it. That's exactly it.
I feel like I'm A- there. I feel like there's like 4 people who would have crap on me that they'd be like, all right, that might be Dallas.
Well, yeah. And so it gets to the point too, where it's like, if someone's saying something, like anyone who whatever reads it or sees it or whatever, it's like, well, if you know me, then I don't really care what you heard someone say, because it shouldn't matter. And if you don't know me, then I don't really know if I care about that either.
Right.
Because you don't even know, like, you don't know any difference. And so like, if you choose to believe that person or not, it's got nothing to do with me. Why would that bother me if you don't even know if you don't even know me, why would it bother me? Do you think these things? You know,
there's that old turn of phrase, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. What are you most proud of in life, Danny?
Man, it's kind of that. I think we went over this. Just like the most of the things I do, I think are generally help people. Right? There's a million ways to make money. There's a million ways to do different things, but I really try to focus on doing things that help people, treat people the right way. I'm proud that I am always trying to improve. I don't like to settle for things. I'm constantly trying to figure out where I'm messing up, if that's a personal life or business or whatever, and then just like do the things to fix it. Right. It's like when we have new employees and stuff, it's like okay, here's the job and here's kind of stuff. And it's like, now go and make decisions and make mistakes. Just don't make the same mistake twice. Like, please go make mistakes, because otherwise we're not trying new things.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm proud of. Is I'm always trying to improve. I'm always trying new things to get better. And also I really try to take advantage of the opportunities. Like it's easy to have these opportunities and to make every excuse why you can't do them or why they won't work. I really try to do the opposite. And every time I hear myself saying, or it's like, I can't do that, or that wouldn't work. It's like, well, actually stop, like reframe it. Like, now give me a list of reasons why it can work or why you need to do it, And I mentioned earlier that, over the weekend, I was like ice fishing in Minnesota. Like, that's the kind of like example. I didn't even know these guys that well. Like, they just, I'm in this group of business owners. We meet up every 3 months and help each other with our businesses and stuff. So I've in total spent like 1 to 2 days around these guys like 3 times.
Sure.
And they're all from all different parts of the country. They're talking about going ice fishing. It sounds like, shit, I've never done anything like that, Right. And so there's a lot of reasons why, like, I can't go or I shouldn't go because of this. On the other hand, like, I may never get this opportunity again. You know what I mean? Like, if someone who does this as a hobby and they invite you up to go and join them and do this thing, like, I'm probably never going to get this. I may not ever get this experience again. So it's like, I feel like I had to go. I got to go. Like, how do you
Did you catch a fish?
Oh yeah, a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's what's up. Probably the best tasting fish ever, the ones you caught yourself.
That's it.
From underneath an ice sheet.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's wild. From way down there, dude, it's wild. Like, pull like hand. Anyway, it's very unique. It was great. It was great. That's the thing. I almost didn't go. And then
Right.
like 6 weeks ago, I'm talking to my wife and I'm just like, you know what? Like, is there any chance we can make this happen? If there's any chance we can figure it out with like the kids and your work, and like, if there's any way we can do this, like, I really think I'd love to go.
Yeah.
And she's
That's
like,
awesome.
all right, let's figure it out. Some of these opportunities, maybe once in a lifetime opportunities or opportunities of business, when these things come up, like taking advantage of that, not running away scared from things.
Well, it's probably not just the fish too. It's probably like the conversations you have with other entrepreneurs when you're out there hanging
sure.
around a hole in the ice, because like there's a certain perspective that you get if you're an entrepreneur, a way of looking at the world that others just don't understand in the same way. You know what I mean? And if it's you ice fishing and some other entrepreneurs, you probably have like really enriching conversations about stuff you would never get to talk about in a passing conversation when you meet somebody at the store. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I came home with a list of ideas for like both businesses, and also just like family stuff too. You know what I mean? Because it's pretty close to the same age group, but there's one or two guys there that are about 10 years older than everybody else, and one of the guys that like sold his business, was retired now, and most of the guys are in it or some are even newer, and that's exactly it. So I really just ended up going up there and talking about the life of being a business owner.
So what most excites you about the future, Danny? What are you most looking forward to?
I'm simultaneously excited and absolutely frightened about my kids getting older. Like I'm every day I think about like how curious I am, like what are they going to be like when they're adults, or what are they going to be like when they're older? So that's really exciting. At the same time, you see picture, you get on, your photo app, it shows you a picture from 4 years ago. And I'm just like, oh man, like, really like, time goes by so fast. Right. But I think that's about the futures. I'm excited about, my kids. And then I'm just also excited about just kind of seeing, like how far this can go, Caffeine and Kilos and the gym both, but just like how many people can we help? How much bigger can we make this? Can we do this? Can we optimize this thing? And how many people can we help? I mean, that's really exciting to me.
That's awesome. Well, we've really only got one more question for you, but I know it's G's favorite question to ask people, so I'm going to.
You go ahead, Dallas. You go ahead.
Oh man! All right. Well, so this is posed from Tim Ferriss, 4 Hour Work Week, Danny. But if you could make one statement to the world, what would it be? Or to put it another way, if you had to choose one thing to say, maybe on a billboard that would be seen by thousands of people or millions of people, what would that billboard say?
Keep going. You can do it.
I love it. Especially for entrepreneurs, that message of perseverance is so important.
Well, so it's everything, man. Like people underestimate what they're capable of. All the time. And I think that people are capable of so much more than they believe they are.
Yeah. Just keep showing up and don't quit.
Keep showing up. Don't quit. Like you can do it. Like instead of coming up with all the reasons why you can't do something, make a list of the reasons why you can, why you need to, why you have to, And I think so many people never realize their potential. I mean, we see it in the gym setting all the time. Oh, I got to lose this weight before I started in CrossFit. It's like, no, like last year we had 3 people lose 100 pounds in a calendar year. Like this is actually what we're good at. Like, like it doesn't, like you can do it, right? Like don't like count yourself out before you even start, and if someone else can do it, why can't you? Right. And I think that a lot of people underestimate what they're actually capable of. And it's, it's kind of sad. Right. So, whatever that thing is, man, you're trying to do it. Like you can do it, and here's the other thing. Don't you really want to know? Like maybe you can't, but like, you'll never know unless you like really take a real go at it.
Right.
So Danny, where can people find out more about you or about Caffeine and Kilos?
Yeah, I mean, caffeineandkilos.com. That's a great place. Check it out. Go check out that coffee of the month. Also, like the apparel's great. Looks good. You can work out in it. You can wear it to your niece's birthday party. So that's cool. And then me personally, just Danny_Lehr, and that's Lehr. That's Instagram. That's most of the social media I use, but you can send me a DM through there, whatever. If you have any questions, I'd love to talk to you. Go check out caffeineandkilos.com.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Dallas, going to do our sign off here.
Danny, I really appreciate the time, man. Love what you're doing. Love the lifestyle you've chosen and that you're honing your skills constantly. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today and to be with our community. Really appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, man. I had a great time.
So anybody else, you want to check us out at CrossFitEdwardsville.com, book a no sweat conversation. You can do that as well, but be sure and check out caffeineandkilos.com, and also be sure and connect with Danny on social media. Again, Danny, thank you so much. And as we always like to say, everybody, have a championship day.